The number of times you step into the bath each week could be quietly shaping your skin, your heart, and even your risk of injury in ways you've never been told. For older women, something as ordinary as bathing isn't just about hygiene. It's about health, safety, and longevity. And the truth is, most people are getting it wrong. In the next hour, you're going to discover 10 shocking, science-backed facts that could completely change how you think about bathing. Some of these facts are so surprising, they go against everything we were taught growing up. And if you skip even one, you could miss the one piece of advice that might save your skin, protect your immune system, and even prevent a dangerous fall. I want you to imagine a woman named Margaret. She's 72, with silver hair that catches the sunlight in her bathroom mirror. For decades, she's followed the same routine, a hot shower every morning, because that's what her mother taught her. But lately, she notices her skin is painfully dry. Her joints ache more after showering, and sometimes she feels lightheaded when she steps out of the steam. She wonders, could it be the weather? Her age? Or could her lifelong habit, one she thought was healthy, be slowly working against her? Margaret's story isn't unique. Maybe it's yours. Maybe it's your mother's, your sister's, or your friend's. We rarely question our bathing habits because they feel so personal, so ingrained. Yet the science about how often older women should bathe has been quietly evolving. In this video, we'll uncover what dermatologists, geriatric specialists, and global health studies now say about bathing frequency for women over 60. We'll talk about how your skin changes after menopause, why overwashing could weaken your immune system, how something as simple as water temperature affects your heart, and why reducing your bath days could actually make you safer. If you're over 60 or love someone who is, you cannot afford to guess about this. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to care for your body in a way that keeps you clean, healthy, and strong. But only if you stay with me, because each fact builds on the last, and skipping ahead means you'll miss the one change that could make all the difference for you. So let's begin with the first truth, one that starts with your skin, and how time changes the way it responds to every drop of water. Your skin is not the same today as it was 20 years ago, and if you're an older woman, that difference is far more important than most people realize. When you were younger, your skin produced a steady layer of natural oils, a soft, invisible shield that kept moisture locked in and gave you that smooth, supple feel. But after menopause, estrogen levels drop, and that shield begins to thin. The skin becomes more fragile, drier, and slower to heal. It doesn't bounce back the way it used to. Margaret remembers the days when she could take 2 baths in a single hot summer afternoon, and her skin still felt fine. Now, she notices that even a short shower leaves her arms and legs tight and itchy. It's not just in her head. The science confirms it. Studies show that older skin loses up to 50% of its natural oil production after menopause. And every time you take a hot, soapy bath, you strip away more of those precious oils, leaving your skin exposed and unprotected. Dermatologists explain it this way. Think of your skin like a brick wall. The skin cells are the bricks, and the natural oils are the mortar holding it all together. If the mortar wears away, the wall weakens, it cracks, it lets in irritants, it can't protect what's inside. That's exactly what overwashing does to older skin. The result? Dryness, itching, micro tears that can invite bacteria, and in some cases, painful rashes. And here's the surprising part. These problems don't just affect your comfort, they can directly impact your health. Because the skin is your body's largest organ and your first line of defense. If it's compromised, your whole immune system is under more strain. So what can you do? The first step is simple. Don't let the water run too hot. Lukewarm water is enough to cleanse without stripping away as much oil. Second, trade harsh soaps for gentle, fragrance-free cleansers that respect your skin's natural balance. And most importantly, moisturize within 3 minutes after you bathe. That's when your skin is still holding onto some of that water, and the lotion or cream will help seal it in. Margaret tried this herself. She lowered the water temperature, switched to a gentle cleanser, and started using a thick, creamy moisturizer after every bath. Within 2 weeks, the difference was remarkable. No more constant itching, no more red patches, and a lot more comfort. This is the first, most personal shift in how older women should approach bathing. But it's just the beginning, because in our next fact, we'll go deeper, beyond the surface of your skin, into the invisible world of microscopic life that lives on it, and why washing too often could be silently weakening your body's natural defenses. There's an entire world living on your skin right now, and before you panic, know this. Most of these tiny residents are actually your allies. Scientists call it the skin microbiome. It's a community of trillions of microscopic organisms, bacteria, fungi, even viruses, that cover every inch of your body. To the naked eye, they're invisible, but together they form a protective shield, helping your immune system keep harmful invaders out. For older women, this shield becomes even more important. As the immune system naturally slows with age, the skin microbiome steps up as one of your first lines of defense. But here's the problem. Overwashing, especially with strong soaps, can wipe out this delicate ecosystem. You might think you're extra clean, but in reality, you could be leaving your skin vulnerable. Margaret learned this the hard way. She had started bathing every day during a particularly humid summer, scrubbing her arms and legs from top to bottom with antibacterial soap. At first, she thought she was protecting herself from germs. But within weeks, she noticed her skin becoming more irritated, small cuts taking longer to heal, and a rash that seemed to flare up every few days. Her doctor explained that by stripping away the good bacteria, she had disrupted her skin's natural balance, making it easier for harmful bacteria to take hold. Research from the National Institutes of Health has confirmed this. The skin microbiome is like a garden. A healthy garden is full of diverse plants that keep weeds in check. If you tear everything out, weeds, or in this case, harmful microbes, can quickly take over. And when that happens, your skin's ability to protect you drops dramatically. The solution? You don't need to deep clean your entire body with soap every day. Most dermatologists now recommend focusing daily washing on areas where sweat and bacteria build up most: underarms, groin, feet, and face, while giving the rest of your skin a break on non-bath days. This approach keeps the microbiome balanced while still maintaining hygiene. Margaret made this change. On days she didn't take a full bath, she used a warm washcloth and gentle cleanser on those key areas. Within a month, her skin irritation faded, and she felt more comfortable than she had in years. It's a small adjustment with a big impact, one that could help protect your immune system every single day. And speaking of daily habits, in our next fact, we're going to break apart one of the biggest myths we've been told for decades: the idea that everyone needs to bathe every single day. What you're about to hear might go against everything you believed, and it could change your routine forever. For most of us, the idea of skipping a daily bath feels wrong, almost unthinkable. We've been told since childhood that bathing every single day is the standard for cleanliness, respectability, even good manners. But here's the truth: that belief is more about culture and marketing than it is about science. Daily bathing as a widespread habit didn't even become common until the 20th century, when indoor plumbing became standard and soap companies began promoting the idea that clean meant freshly scrubbed every day. Before that, many people bathed just once or twice a week, and they weren't walking around unhealthy because of it. Dermatologists today will tell you something surprising. Unless you're getting sweaty, dirty, or exposed to contaminants, there's no medical reason most older adults need a full bath every day. In fact, for older women, daily bathing can do more harm than good, drying the skin, disrupting the microbiome, and increasing risks of falls in the bathroom. Margaret used to feel uneasy if she missed her morning shower. It was a routine, a ritual, and she thought it kept her healthier. But once she learned the science, she realized that health wasn't about frequency. It was about quality and intention. Now she bathes 3 times a week, with light daily cleaning of key areas in between. She's noticed fewer dry patches, less itchiness, and her skin looks healthier than it has in years. Of course, some people still hesitate. We've tied our bathing habits to our sense of self, to feeling fresh and confident. But freshness isn't about how often you step into the shower. It's about keeping the parts of your body that matter most clean and healthy, while protecting the natural systems that care for you. So before you turn on the tap tomorrow morning out of habit, ask yourself, do I actually need this bath today, or am I doing it because I've been told I should? That simple question can be the first step toward healthier skin, a safer bathroom, and more energy. And speaking of safety, in our next fact, we'll talk about one of the most overlooked risks older women face in the bathroom, and why reducing unnecessary baths could literally prevent a life-changing accident. The bathroom may feel like one of the safest rooms in the house, but for older women, it's actually one of the most dangerous. Smooth, wet surfaces, steam in the air, and limited space all combine to create a perfect storm for slips and falls. Every year, the World Health Organization reports millions of fall-related injuries among seniors, and a significant number happen in bathrooms. For older women, whose bones may be more fragile due to osteoporosis or reduced bone density, even a single fall can have devastating consequences, from hip fractures to head injuries that permanently change independence and quality of life. Margaret had a close call herself. One chilly winter morning, she stepped into the shower just to freshen up, even though she hadn't been out, hadn't sweated, and didn't really need it. As she turned to reach for her shampoo, her foot slid slightly on the wet tile. She caught herself on the wall, just in time. Her heart pounded, not just from the scare, but from the realization she could have been another statistic. When researchers look at these incidents, they find something interesting. The risk doesn't only come from the act of bathing itself, but from unnecessary exposure. The more times you enter that wet, slippery environment, the more opportunities there are for something to go wrong. In other words, every extra shower you take without a real need is another roll of the dice. The good news is that small changes can dramatically lower the danger. Non-slip mats inside and outside the tub, sturdy grab bars, and a shower chair can make a big difference. But the most effective change is simply reducing how often you put yourself in that risky environment. If your skin, your hygiene, and your health don't require a bath that day, don't take one. Margaret took this to heart. Now, instead of automatically showering each morning, she checks in with herself. Do I need this today? She's not only kept her skin healthier, but she's also cut her chances of a dangerous slip nearly in half. Safety is often thought of in terms of big precautions, but sometimes it's the quiet, everyday habits that protect us the most. And speaking of habits, our next fact will explore a surprising link between your bathing routine, joint pain, and fatigue, and why certain kinds of baths might be leaving you feeling worse, not better. For many older women, a warm bath or shower feels like the ultimate comfort, a moment to relax aching joints and soothe tired muscles. But here's the surprising truth. If you're not careful, that very ritual could be adding to your pain and fatigue instead of relieving it. When you stand in a hot shower for a long time, the heat causes your blood vessels to widen. While that can temporarily ease stiffness, it also lowers your blood pressure. For some, this sudden drop can lead to lightheadedness, dizziness, or even a sense of weakness once you step out. And if you already have arthritis or joint problems, the extended standing can put extra strain on knees, hips, and ankles. Margaret used to linger under the water, letting it run over her shoulders until the bathroom filled with steam. She thought the longer she stayed, the better she'd feel. But she began noticing a pattern. After her showers, her legs felt heavier, her energy dropped, and her joints seemed to stiffen again within an hour. Medical experts explain that while heat can relax muscles, too much exposure, especially in a standing position, can fatigue the body. It can even trigger inflammation in some cases, leaving you feeling more drained than before. The solution isn't to give up the comfort of warm water altogether, but to adapt it. Shorter showers, ideally no longer than 10 minutes, can still provide relief without overtaxing your body. Using a shower chair or bathing while seated can also take the pressure off your joints. And for days when you don't need a full bath, a warm foot soak or a targeted warm compress can deliver the same soothing effect without the full body strain. Once Margaret made these adjustments, shorter showers, seated bathing, and alternating with partial washes, she found her energy lasted longer through the day, and her knees no longer ached as much afterward. It's a reminder that even small tweaks to your routine can make a big difference in how you feel. And while physical comfort is essential, so is emotional comfort. In our next fact, we'll explore how bathing is more than just a physical act. It's also a powerful mental and emotional ritual, and why learning to adapt it can make your days calmer and brighter. For many older women, bathing isn't just about getting clean. It's a ritual, a sanctuary, a few precious minutes of peace. The warm water, the scent of soap, the rhythm of washing. It all becomes a comforting routine, almost like a form of meditation. Margaret has always loved her baths for this very reason. They weren't just about hygiene. They were her quiet escape. A time to think about her day, to pray, to remember. The sound of water was like a soft lullaby that calmed her nerves. But over time, she realized she had tied her sense of calm too tightly to this one act. If she missed a bath, she felt unsettled, almost anxious, as if she'd lost a moment of herself. Psychologists call this a sensory ritual, a pattern of sights, sounds, and sensations that signal to the brain it's time to relax. And while that's a wonderful thing, relying on just one ritual can become limiting. Especially if that ritual, like daily bathing, starts to have physical drawbacks for your skin or your safety. Margaret began exploring other ways to create that same mental peace without always stepping into the bath. She discovered the gentle rhythm of evening stretches with soft music in the background. She learned the comfort of aromatherapy, a few drops of lavender in a diffuser as she read her favorite book. On cooler days, she would do a warm foot soak while sipping tea, letting the heat seep in slowly. Studies have shown that these kinds of multisensory practices, combining touch, scent, and sound, can lower cortisol levels, improve sleep, and ease feelings of anxiety, much like bathing does. By diversifying your rituals, you're not only protecting your physical health, but also giving your mind more tools to find peace. Margaret still treasures her baths, but now they're special, not automatic. She has a choice, and that choice makes each one more meaningful. But there's another part of the bathing experience that deserves attention, something that can directly affect your heart health, and not in the way you might think. In our next fact, we'll look at how water temperature interacts with your blood pressure, and why getting it wrong could put your heart under unnecessary strain. For many older women, bathing isn't just about getting clean. It's a ritual, a sanctuary, a few precious minutes of peace. The warm water, the scent of soap, the rhythm of washing. It all becomes a comforting routine, almost like a form of meditation. Margaret has always loved her baths for this very reason. They weren't just about hygiene. They were her quiet escape. A time to think about her day, to pray, to remember. The sound of water was like a soft lullaby that calmed her nerves. But over time, she realized she had tied her sense of calm too tightly to this one act. If she missed a bath, she felt unsettled, almost anxious, as if she'd lost a moment of herself. Psychologists call this a sensory ritual, a pattern of sights, sounds, and sensations that signal to the brain it's time to relax. And while that's a wonderful thing, relying on just one ritual can become limiting, especially if that ritual, like daily bathing, starts to have physical drawbacks for your skin or your safety. Margaret began exploring other ways to create that same mental peace without always stepping into the bath. She discovered the gentle rhythm of evening stretches with soft music in the background. She learned the comfort of aromatherapy, a few drops of lavender in a diffuser as she read her favorite book. On cooler days, she would do a warm foot soak while sipping tea, letting the heat seep in slowly. Studies have shown that these kinds of multisensory practices, combining touch, scent, and sound, can lower cortisol levels, improve sleep, and ease feelings of anxiety, much like bathing does. By diversifying your rituals, you're not only protecting your physical health, but also giving your mind more tools to find peace. Margaret still treasures her baths, but now they're special, not automatic. She has a choice, and that choice makes each one more meaningful. But there's another part of the bathing experience that deserves attention, something that can directly affect your heart health, and not in the way you might think. In our next fact, we'll look at how water temperature interacts with your blood pressure, and why getting it wrong could put your heart under unnecessary strain. Every bath or shower you take doesn't just affect your skin, it also impacts the world beyond your bathroom. Water is one of our most precious resources, And while it may seem limitless when it flows freely from the tap, the truth is it isn't. For older women, reducing bathing frequency can be a win-win, protecting your skin while also conserving something vital for future generations. On average, a single shower can use 15 to 25 gallons of water, depending on the length and flow rate. A bath can use even more. Over a year, daily bathing adds up to thousands of gallons, much of it unnecessary from a health standpoint. By simply bathing 2 or 3 times a week instead of every day, you could save over 5,000 gallons annually. That's enough to provide drinking water for one person for several years. Margaret never thought much about this. She grew up in a time when conserving water wasn't discussed in most households. But one summer, during a regional drought, she noticed the water restrictions in her community. For the first time, she connected her personal habits to a larger picture. She realized that by adjusting her bathing schedule, something that was already benefiting her skin, she could also make a quiet but meaningful contribution to the planet. There's a deep emotional satisfaction in knowing that your self-care choices ripple outward. The water you save today might help keep a river flowing, support wildlife, or ease the strain on your local water system. It's a simple way to give back, without costing you anything but a small change in habit. Margaret even found new appreciation for her baths when they became less frequent. Each one felt more special, more intentional, and she knew she was doing something good, both for herself and for the world around her. But while bathing less often has many benefits, there are times when more frequent bathing is absolutely necessary for your comfort, your dignity, and your health. In our next fact, we'll talk about those exceptions and how to care for your skin while keeping up with special hygiene needs. There are moments in life when bathing more often isn't just okay, it's essential. For older women, these times can come unexpectedly, and knowing when to increase your bathing routine can make all the difference in your comfort and health. Some situations are obvious. A day spent gardening in the heat, heavy sweating after light exercise, or working in the kitchen with strong odors. But others are more personal and sometimes harder to talk about. Conditions like urinary incontinence, skin infections, or certain medical treatments may require more frequent cleaning to prevent irritation, odor, and infection. Margaret experienced this when she began a new medication that made her sweat more than usual. At first, she tried sticking to her reduced bathing schedule, but she noticed her skin feeling sticky and uncomfortable. After speaking with her doctor, she learned that in certain cases, like after incontinence episodes or during hot, humid spells, it's better to clean the affected areas immediately, even if it means an extra shower or bath that week. For women with chronic skin conditions such as eczema, psoriasis, or fungal infections, dermatologists may prescribe specific bathing routines. Sometimes this includes daily baths, but with carefully chosen cleansers and medicated treatments. The key is not just frequency, but technique, using lukewarm water, gentle products, and moisturizing right afterward to protect the skin barrier. The important thing to remember is that bathing needs aren't one size fits all. Your body's needs can change with the seasons, with your health, and even with your daily activities. Listening to your skin, your comfort, and your doctor's guidance is the best way to decide when to bathe more often. Margaret learned to be flexible. On most weeks, she kept her 3 baths a week routine. But when circumstances changed, she adjusted without guilt, knowing that hygiene is about balance, not rigid rules. And that brings us to our final fact, perhaps the most important of all. It's about finding your personal bathing rhythm, one that honors your health, your comfort, and your unique life. Finding the right bathing routine isn't about following someone else's rulebook. It's about creating your own, shaped by your body's needs, your health, and your lifestyle. For older women, this balance is deeply personal, and it can change over time. Margaret's journey taught her that bathing 3 times a week worked best for her skin, her joints, and her safety. On non-bath days, she refreshed herself with a warm washcloth for key areas, underarms, groin, feet, and face, keeping her hygiene intact without stripping her skin. This small shift gave her softer skin, more energy, and fewer worries about slipping in the shower. Dermatologists and geriatric specialists often suggest starting with a general guide. For most older adults, 2 to 3 full baths or showers a week is enough to stay clean and healthy, as long as daily targeted washing is maintained. But it's not about numbers. It's about listening to the signals your body sends. Dryness, irritation, lingering odors, or discomfort are cues that your routine may need adjusting. It's also about making your bathing experience safer and more enjoyable. That might mean adding a shower chair so you can sit and relax, lowering water temperature to protect your heart, or using a rich moisturizer immediately afterward to seal in hydration. When you shape your bathing routine around you, it becomes an act of care, not just a chore. Margaret now sees her baths as moments of intention. She no longer bathes out of habit or fear of breaking some outdated rule. Each time she steps into the water, it's because she wants to, not because she feels she has to. And that shift has given her a quiet kind of freedom. Your bathing habits should serve you, not the other way around. They should protect your skin, preserve your safety, and give you moments of peace, without putting your health at risk. When you find that balance, you're not just caring for your body, you're honoring it. So before your next bath, pause and ask yourself, do I need this today? Or would my body thank me more for waiting until tomorrow? The answer might surprise you, and it could change the way you care for yourself for the rest of your life. Margaret's story is just one example, but it holds a truth we can all take to heart. Bathing is more than a habit. It's a choice, a ritual, and for older women, it's an opportunity to protect your skin, your health, and your safety in ways you might never have considered before. You've now heard the 10 facts that most people don't talk about. The science behind how your skin changes with age, the importance of the skin's microbiome, the myth of daily baths, the hidden risks in your bathroom, the surprising connection to joint pain and fatigue, the emotional comfort of rituals, the link between water temperature and your heart, the environmental benefits of bathing less often, the times when more frequent baths are essential, and finally, how to find the perfect balance for you. These aren't just tips. They're tools you can start using today to feel better in your skin, save your energy, and keep yourself safe. But remember, the most important change doesn't come from knowing the facts. It comes from acting on them. Margaret didn't just listen. She adjusted her habits. And the difference she feels every single day is proof that small, intentional changes can lead to big improvements in your quality of life. So I'm asking you, what will you do differently after watching this? Will you try shorter, gentler showers? Will you let yourself skip a bath when your body doesn't need it? Or will you make your next bath a truly special moment of care? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one, and I'd love to hear your story. And before you go, if this video opened your eyes to even one new fact, imagine how many other life-changing insights are still out there for you to discover. Don't miss them. Hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to see our next video. Because your health, your comfort, and your safety are worth more than old habits. They're worth learning, adapting, and caring for yourself in ways that make every year of your life healthier, stronger, and more joyful. Thank you for spending this time with me. Now go take care of yourself in the way that truly serves you.